Welcome to Thrive and Rise with Tiffany, where transformation meets purpose and self discovery leads to impact. Today, we are going to talk empowering financial literacy and overcoming adversity with our special guest, author of Girl Make Your Money Grow, Gail Perry-Mason. Let's rise together. Book series. It's designed to help you heal, grow, and lead with purpose. This is more than just a series. It's a journey back to you. And I also want to thank you. In less than 2 months, we reached over 30,000 views. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to watch with us. Continue to grow with us. Let's thrive and rise together. We have our guest here with us today, Gail Perry-Mason. Gail, your story is truly, truly inspiring. From starting in foster care to becoming a respected figure in the financial industry, could you share some pivotal moments that shaped the path that you're on today?
Well, I have to go back. So first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for just doing this podcast, because it means much. All of us need to thrive, and all of us need this inspiration that you're giving all the time. So I'm going to encourage everybody also to subscribe, like, and everything, because we all need each other. And coming back to we all need each other, as I ended up, when I was given up for adoption, my biological mother, she just left me at the hospital, and I was just left there, and nobody wanted me. I was labeled. People put labels on people all the time. They put a label on special needs and hard to place. And they said nobody would ever want me. So I kept going I was a ward of the state, going from foster care to foster care home. And then finally, at the age of 4, my name used to be Stephanie. It was Stephanie Rose Rick. Finally, somebody took me in, and it was a 55-year-old lady and an 85-year-old lady took me in. They became my mother and my grandmother. And they said, oh my God, I have braces on my legs. And they said, what have I got myself into? She's not walking, she's not talking, she's bald-headed. Fast forward, this doctor came over to the house and said, African-American doctor, and said, you know what? Love her, hold her, and just talk to her. And all I remember is my grandmother saying, I'm going to take that job. And she put Glover's Mane and Sulfur 8 on my hair, just brushed my hair and talked to me all the time. And of course now, Tiffany, as you know, I never shut up. And I walk, I run marathons. I ran a 5K today, but I've been running all my life. I've been talking all my life. So love means let obstacles vanish effortlessly. And I just think it's all about love. So when people say things are wrong with people, that's why I work with youth now. They say, oh, this child has special needs, or this child needs this. I'm like, oh, all they need is love. So I think love is the answer to everything in this world. So that's how, coming from foster care to now, that's why I believe I owe love to others. And, my parents died, when I was younger because they were older. But one died when I was 9 years old, one died when I was pregnant. But I ended up, that's how I was broke. And that's how I ended up in the financial service industry. I didn't know what a brokerage firm did. And I got pregnant first year of college, and, brokerage firm, I sent my resume out back in the day. A brokerage firm was like, okay, Gail, come work for us. as a receptionist because I like to talk. And the only thing I knew, I was brokerage firm. And so I didn't even know, I didn't even know what a financial firm was. So I didn't even know what the financial service industry was. I knew nothing about, my parents told me, my mom, she was like, just have a joint account with Jesus at the credit union. Only you and Jesus know about. So I had no clue about financial literacy at all, nothing about economic empowerment. But then success leaves clues. I used to just be a receptionist and people come in the front door with money and I was like, whoa. Where'd you get that money from? I thought they, hit the number, caught a case. I didn't know. So anyway, but they were investing. And so that's how I learned that this is what people do. So I knew nothing about it. And I got into it by divine design. And I could definitely say it was all divine order where I was supposed to be at that time. So it wasn't what I planned, because you talked about today with your books. You talked about, okay, sometimes you make choices. I didn't make the choice to get pregnant. I didn't. So anyway, but
it was a choice.
But yeah, it was a choice. But we talked about choices earlier. I knew what the outcome was going to be. So we talked about that. Now, people plan pregnancies. I'm like, what? But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
So you have a wonderful story and powerful story. You went from being a foster youth that was not loved,
yes,
to being empowered and loved very well. And it's a testament of what love can do. And then you went to a brokerage firm, and it's been over 30 years, right?
Yes, yeah, over 30 years.
What were some of the significant changes that you faced, and how did you overcome them to rise in the financial sector? Because you went from a foster youth to managing millions of dollars.
So I will say, becoming from a foster youth, right now I was left at women's hospitals. Back in the day, Hudson Harper Women's Hospital, it was another divine design. I sit on the board there now. So now I'm a trustee at DMC or Harper Hudson, tenant, whatever you want to call it, right here in Metro Detroit area. But I try to make sure the babies that are left there are loved. So my biggest investment, I have to say, I love my clients, I love what I do for a living, but I also love what I do for life. My divine assignment is to make sure those youth are loved.
Absolutely.
And then in the financial service industry, just rising up, of course, that wasn't easy at all, but I ended up receptionist, and then I became a secretary.
What were some of the challenges that you faced during that time?
Challenges were, and it's not with who I'm with now, but I'm not going to talk about firms or anything like that.
Yeah.
But because I know that's what it's about my life, and so I was with another firm, and I was a receptionist, and people came in the front door with money, and I asked, could I become a secretary? And they're like, oh, yeah, you can become a secretary. So I started, like, you have your computer out here. I didn't have a computer, so I started going into computers when I became a secretary and started looking at what people own. I was a consumer, they were the owner, and I was like, oh, now I know what I need to do. I need to teach people about owning things, and that's how I got in the financial service. I said, well, wait a minute. Let me try to start teaching people. And I said, can I become a financial advisor? And they're like, oh, no, Gail. They said, you're a single mother. You're African American. The answer is absolutely not. Yeah. So one day we had to take this test, Series 7 book, Series 7, 8-hour math test. It was a long math test, hard math test, but I was always good in math. So I was going to school at night, studying from 4 to 6 in the morning, the Series 7 book. They didn't pay for it, but I worked for one of the investment advisors. I ended up, it was a copy machine, and it was just books. I went and picked up my son from daycare, and I Xeroxed the book. Didn't know copyright laws at the time. Do not do it to our books. Did not know it. So I Xeroxed the books, and I just studied. And I said, I'm ready to take the test. I would tell you, one person in my office, because I couldn't afford to take the test, they said, Gail, I will pay for you to take the test. Because the firm was not going to pay for me to take the test. So they paid for me to take the test. I ended up taking the test. I passed the test. And after I passed the test, I said, oh, no, Gail, you're just a licensed secretary. That's it. So I was like, okay. Then after I became a licensed secretary, I read about somebody named John Rogers, Melody Hobson, blah, blah. Anyway, I put on a seminar. I love to put people together in unity. So I learned how to actually go to newsletters back in the day. And I don't care if it's the black accountants, I don't care if the churches, whatever, the MBAs. I ended up putting every organization I knew, I put an ad in there for absolutely free. You can put free ads if you put on a free seminar. So I rented out the St. Regis Hotel, and I had my date set, and I did all this, and next thing I know, they asked for $250, and of course I didn't have it. So I went to my mama, and she said, oh, you're not losing a good job with benefits. I've been secretary all my life for the government. You be a secretary your whole life. And I was like, no, I think I want to do this. And she said, no, 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 no. And so she said, I don't have the money anyway to give you. So I went and asked my branch manager, and he was like, oh, no. You're going to put on a seminar? He said, only on your time. So I ended up putting it on my time. And so I still didn't have the money. And he says, I'm not going to give you any money because it's not a firm-sponsored event. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, it's fine. So I ended up, so this was all on my own, in case anybody's listening, all on my own. Mm-hmm. So I ended up taking a job. The nights I didn't go to school, I ended up being a cocktail waitress. My best friend worked at a bar called Red Parrot back in the day. Mm-hmm. I waited tables, 2 weeks, $250 in tips, went down to St. Regis Hotel, made it rain, girl. I ended up dollar bills, quarters, the whole deal, counted out $250, and I ended up having cookies and water. Mm-hmm. And so everybody came in. I had 200 people out though. So I went to the Purdy Library at Wayne State. I learned how to write press releases. I did everything. It was in the press, everything. Back in the day, Chronicle used to be green. It was in the paper. So anyway, you know how long ago that was. Anyway, so, but I ended up getting so many people out. So I sat at a table just like this, me and Melody Hobson, and she was an intern for John Rogers. We sat there that night and opened up over 100 accounts. So after we opened up 100 accounts, I take my job, like, boom, I got 100 accounts. They were like, Gail, we don't even want these little bitty accounts. And I totally broke down and started crying. You know, here I am, and it is difficult. You know, here I am, African-American, mm-hmm. only female, I was the only, and I don't like saying I'm the only. So here I am being
But you're breaking that glass, you broke that glass ceiling.
Oh, I shattered it by bringing others.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't shatter it by myself. So anyway, after that, I ended up, they said, I cried. They said, well, Gail, we're going to give you a chair with some rollers on it. You can slide over, being an investment advisor, you got to make these numbers for 90 days. If you don't, first of all, we're not going to invest one red cent in you. We're not going to do anything for you. We're not going to help you. But if you make it, you can, be an investment advisor. If you don't, we want you to slide right back over. So during that time, I was the only person that was licensed investment advisor for the 90 days that still had to answer phones for men that didn't look like me. I was the only one that still had to greet people at the door that didn't look like me and still work as an investment advisor and try to get clients. And those clients I got back then are still, I love them, and they're still my clients to this day. And I love them who trusted in me, believed in me, and gave me an opportunity that I didn't have. And I didn't do it by myself. And I think in this world we didn't. Now I still, we still have obstacles every single day of our lives, whether it's with, firms, clients, whatever, but we can still overcome them.
Yes.
So with grace and with love and with prayer.
And that's so important to note. We're on our journey of self-empowerment still in the Know Thyself book series. And one of the things that I think people, they look at the finished product and look, someone is successful. They are doing so great. They don't know the backstory of how hard it was to get from A to Z. So you had a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. And then you still decided you want to give back even more, and you started the Money Matters for Youth Camp. What inspired you to start the Money Matters for Youth Camp?
Well, I started it was 29 years ago now, and I was reading the Wall Street Journal because reading is always, you look at successful people in the Wall Street Journal. So it's something called Rich Kids Camp, and I was like, Rich Kids Camp? And it was $10,000 to go to this camp. This was 30 years ago. You had to pay $10,000 to go, and then you had to give $10,000 to your child to invest. And your parents had to have, I forgot how many assets. like 25 million. That's back in the day. I think now it's like 100 million. Wow. And the camp costs, I forgot how many thousands. But they still put it on this rich kids camp. But everybody who's going to the camp didn't look like me. I said, oh my God, they teach them financial literacy. But I looked at I said, oh, I can't send my kid to this camp. I said, oh, I'm going to create one then. And that's why I created one for $50. And with that $50 people paid, I bought a $50 savings bonds because I knew how to buy savings bonds. So I ended up, the place where Bass Blue is right now is exactly where I started the camp. So there was a museum, and I just got about 50 kids together and just did the same camp. And I got a limousine company that volunteered their time. They rode my kids around in limousines. We ate downtown. We taught them etiquette because the people at Miss M was working at this place where Bass Blue is teaching etiquette. So I said, can we partner? Collaboration is everything. So I just partnered with people and said, can you teach them history? Can you teach them etiquette? Can you teach them this? And now everybody that was in that first cohort, every single one of them are beyond successful. Every single one. I mean, you talk about the largest African-American female VC firm. Money Camp.
Amazing.
You talk about another technology company, and it was the other day, it was like, okay, Gail, making 60 million, doing this, Money Camp. So I look at all the people that came through that camp back in the day. Yeah. One called me, he's like, okay, I'm buying the rights of this patent. I'm buying the rights of this. I'm buying the rights of this. I'm like, wow. So the thing is, I send the elevator back down to the next generation so they could rise higher than me. So, same thing. Look, we got a CFA sitting right in here right now. Came through as an intern. I always put people on my payroll to say, hey, and I don't have an actual payroll, but whatever commissions I make, I share with somebody else. So I never really kept people say, oh, Gail, pay for this, do this. But I never really keep my paycheck because I've always like, hey, can you do this for me? I'll pay you out of my commissions. I'll pay you out of this. I'll pay you out of this. So I've been doing that, basically since day one. And I was in my 20s. And so starting then, I never kept a paycheck. When I first got in the business, somebody came in the front door and I knew this is not what the firm I work with now, but another firm. They came in and I was still greet people, even though I was an investment advisor, and they would come in the front door and they would come in looking for a job. And I knew they weren't going to hire them because they looked like me. They were African American. So I would say or they would come in not dressed appropriately. And I would go out and buy them an outfit and say, come back in this suit. So I have bought suits, I've done everything, and then they still wouldn't hire them. I said, well, that's okay, I'll hire you. And then one person came in before, I'll never forget, one of my favorite interns, and only time, because I never take off work except for to take care of the kids. So she had cancer, and we had to go to a clinic, the Mayo Clinic, but we went to one somewhere, I think it was in Rochester or somewhere else. And so I took off 3 days and stayed with her, but she ran everything for me for the Money Camp for years. But she came in my office one day, and I'll never forget, I can tell the story now because she's up in heaven, but she came in the office and she was like, okay, I want to invest, I want a lawsuit, blah, 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 but I got this guy. I'm like, you can't bring anybody in the office. I need you to dress better. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. Anyway, I stood up in her wedding. I took her to Mayo Clinic and I stayed with her all the way up into the day she died. So I'm just saying that to say that it's not about me. It's about relationships.
Real relationships.
So they're real relationships that, and then I actually, want to put them in a leadership role to help take over. She actually took over the camp for quite a few years. And, now she's an angel, of course. So
I'm one of the Money Camp parents.
Yes,
and
your babies.
It's just such an amazing opportunity. Both of my children went through the camp, and then they worked for the camp.
Yes.
And the exposure.
Went to see Warren Buffett, too. They went to see Warren Buffett, too.
My daughter, you took her for the ringing of the bell at Berkshire and Hathaway. Got a chance to meet Warren Buffett and watch Warren Buffett and Bill Gates play table tennis.
Yeah, they were like, yes.
and be a part of the Warren Buffett documentary there and here.
They are in the Warren
Michigan.
Buffett documentary.
You
and
are exposing our kids to some very amazing things that are, it's life-changing.
But youth are like Kodak film. All they need is exposure and development. That's exactly what they need.
Absolutely. Now, you're also, amongst all of those things, you're also a best-selling author of Girl Make Your Money Grow, which was featured on Oprah. What's the core message that you aim to convey through your writings, and how do you hope to influence others, your readers?
You know what? And it was so many years ago when I wrote this book, but I ended up, it was such a blessing to do it and to be on Oprah's Debt Diet, but I wanted to just teach women and men, you can scratch out girl, dude, whatever, and say, hey, you could do this. Start, put together your own personal board of directors, put together your own mission statement, make layoffs, do things like that, be your chief life officer. So that's what we kind of convey in the book. And I still talk about that every single day. That does not grow old. And, now, even I'm trying to work on another book now, which is from a full-figure woman to a seven-figure woman, a woman's guide to shifting her assets. The worst thing in the world, is to be fat and broke. So, no, it is. And I do not believe, but anyway, I don't believe in diets. A diet just means, did I eat today? So, but it is. If you weigh more than your credit score, you got a problem. So we have to actually, as women now, we really do have to take care of our health. So the one thing I'm learning as I grow older, we have to take care of our health before we do anything.
Absolutely.
Because our health is our real wealth. Yeah. So now it is, it's our real wealth. And so it's just like, that's why we have to be more mindful of what we do and actually listen to our bodies. You talked earlier about just taking time for yourself. And we do have to listen to our bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more so than anything. So that's our real wealth. And having your finances messed up makes your blood pressure go up and everything else. So we have to be really just more mindful of where our money goes. Put a GPS on our money. Your money shouldn't be homeless. And actually, see, watch where it's going. What's it doing? And make sure while you're sleeping at night, you're doing, it's working for you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You talked earlier about being a Black woman in a male-dominated industry.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are a lot of women out here in leadership roles or trying to get into leadership roles. What strategies did you employ, and how did you navigate those challenges? Can you give some tips for others trying to do the same things?
The first thing I would say is have gratitude. So I actually, which I do with my sons too, so I actually have note cards with my name on them. And I actually I touch 10 people a day. And I actually send gratitude notes to people, whether it's they're in a high position, they may not ever know me. I send Warren Buffett one. Now I call him WB. Not that my picture's on his desk, but anyway. But, I would send him notes. Like, hey, that's a good tip you said. I love what you're doing to give back, blah, blah, blah. So I actually send gratitude notes. I don't ask for anything. I just send a letter saying, I appreciate what you're doing.
You've sent me notes, and I'm definitely not Warren Buffett.
But I send notes out. But I actually try to send 10 notes out a day. Just actually... People don't get cards in the mail, so of course they're going to keep them. Mm-hmm. So I just send it out. And so I think, first of all, you got to start with gratitude. Like, if you want to get in a position, like find out who's in that position or who is a gatekeeper of that position. And then get to know them. Now we got LinkedIn. This is before LinkedIn. I would just read the paper, read Cranes, read whatever. So now we got LinkedIn. You can see, oh, wow. So instead of sending them an inbox message, because, I can't, my inboxes, I'm like crazy. You don't read them. Send an actual note that they have to open up, and then say, hey, I appreciate you doing this. Maybe one day if you're ever in Detroit, blah blah blah. Just what you can do. Like I sent one to, like for example, next week I'm doing something like with Angela Yee, and my, she is building a place in Detroit. So they want me to host something at my house for her.
Nice.
So, she's amazing. And I always admire what she's doing. But I would always just give her a shout out all the time. Like, hey, I admire what you're doing, girl. Blah, blah, blah. So the person's over Essence now. Michelle Key. Matter of fact, she's amazing. Michelle, she is beyond. Like, she wrote a book called Strategic. She's such a best strategy on women moving up. She's had every job from BET to now she's over Essence, over this, over that. So instead of sending her an inbox, she always says people should send inboxes on LinkedIn. I'm like, no, let me send her a note. Let me let her know I'm proud of her. I am so proud of her. Her book is out of print, but if you get a chance, you can get her book. I mean, this woman is the bomb. But she taught how to actually, send people messages too. But I was sending people handwritten notes, but she always talked about sending people messages before they come to the town. But get to know the people who are the gatekeepers and work with them and collaborate with them. Like if they're putting on a fundraiser, be at that fundraiser. If they sit on the board of a publicly traded company, go to the annual meeting. Like actually be in the spot where it's happening.
That's some really good information and really, really good tip.
Like I took a lot of women to the Sara Lee shareholders meeting back in the day. Sara Lee's no longer in existence. They were, they went back private, but they owned Coach, they owned Jimmy Dean, they owned everything back in the day. So I ended up, getting 2 busloads of women from Detroit. We went there, they all owned it, and we went on the bus to Chicago. And they were like, Gail, how do we vote our proxy? I'm like, I can show you better than I can tell you, because I can't tell you how to vote your proxy, but I can show you. Let's go. So we got on the bus and we went there and we all voted our proxy together. We kept Vernon Jordan on the board back in the day. But, so I try to show people, better than I could tell them, but they were in the room during that time. So, of course, Vernon Jordan and his assistant, Gail, they got to know me. Mm-hmm. Black Enterprise at the story. So people got to see, what we did in Black Enterprise. So all of that makes a difference. So I think we have to do things to kind of make a difference too. And then also reach out to people in gratitude instead of just asking them, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Reach out in gratitude more than anything. That goes so much further than anything. And even, now, I'll reach out to people with gratitude, who I work with or, in my firm or whatever. I always reach out I think we ought to reach out in gratitude. And my clients, I reach out in gratitude before anything. It's not about you can't love anything, you can't love you back. Money cannot love you back. So when I really reach out to my clients, it's like, hey, how are you doing?
Yes.
They're like, oh, Gail, what's going on in the market? And I was like, no. How are the kids?
Now, and you do a lot for your clients. So mm-hmm. you're a senior investor, senior director of investments, mm-hmm. correct? Mm-hmm. At Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. And
which has nothing to do with this podcast.
It has nothing to do with the podcast.
Nothing to do with the podcast. Okay.
But
put my disclaimer out there. Okay.
But your role, you align clients' goals with holistic financial planning and investment strategies. Could you elaborate on your approach and how it benefits your clients?
So I think success benefits others first is what I always say. So I ended up, everybody's different. Tiffany, you know that. Everybody's totally different. Mm-hmm. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different risk tolerance. And I wrote about in the book, goals, risk tolerance, and how long before they retire. Everybody's different. And you got to treat everybody different. Yeah. And that's it. But you got to get to know that person. Mm-hmm. So you actually become part of their family. Because they got kids, they need to go to college. They need to, I love when I'll go to my client and they save for a house and bought a house. Like, oh my God, let's go, let's do this. I had one young man who came to my money camp and then he wanted to buy his, fiance a ring. Mm-hmm. He brought the ring to me first and how much did he budget, So, but anyway, those type of things with just people who maybe might not even be your client, but just someone who, will come to you.
A future client.
Yes, definitely. So, but then they'll come and just ask, different things. So you become part of their family. Mm-hmm. So people say, I don't know if people might not know what a family office is. Some people do, some people don't. I don't have a family office. That's a whole different financial term, but I call my office a family office because I want everybody to feel welcome. And I said family means forget about me, I love you. So when people come in, it's all about them.
Yeah.
So, and I love that probably more than anything. It's just, I think that's the best way to handle things. And then actually, look at the experts, look at the Warren Buffetts, look at what they're doing, look at what other people are doing. That's what I do every single day. Start my day at 4:30, watch what everybody's doing, watch what the markets are doing. And then I never start any day ever without inspiring somebody first and without praying. So
you kind of touched on some of the disparities.
mm-hmm.
So what strategies do you believe are essential in addressing disparities in underserved communities?
I think unity. In the word community, in the word opportunity, is the word unity. Poor means passed over opportunity repeatedly. So the thing is, we have to come together and give each other opportunities. Mm-hmm. Because that's why we are the way we are now. Is because, in different communities, it's because we don't have those opportunities. We don't have the opportunity to start a business. Or we don't know. We don't have the resources. Mm-hmm. If we had the opportunities, it would change so many different things. So what's going to happen to the opportunities? And I think we, and I'm speaking French, we have to create opportunities. And I think if you have an opportunity to create an opportunity just to give somebody a resource, like, oh my God, I found out about this resource. I found out about this, this event you should attend. Mm-hmm. I found out about, so some people say, oh, I can't make it. Go pick them up. Take them, drop them off. Just do it. Buy them an Uber card. Make sure they can get to that event and back.
And let's go into a little bit of why going to those events are so important. Because a lot of people don't realize the power of just going to different events. So why is that so important?
It is so important because you got to show up. The first thing in life is showing up. Mm-hmm. You have to show up.
You have to show up. And then a lot of times you're getting resources at events. You're getting knowledge that you would not have had, depending on the event.
Divine connections.
Networking.
Networking is everything. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So that is a good strategy. Just going to events, just being seen, being known. And sometimes it might not help you in that moment, but a year later, that person you met and you had coffee with and you went to their birthday party, now they're in a position to help you, or you're in a position to help them, and it's divine timing, but it's building those relationships.
Oh, relationships are everything, and I just think we cannot make it without each other. We are stronger together.
So here's a question for you.
Okay.
How do you manage and balance your personal life with your demanding professional responsibilities?
Can we say cut? No, I'm only kidding. It is so difficult. So I do have, like a personal person that I actually, needed, that I can call on. And she will definitely, for a fee, manage my personal schedule. Because I have to. It's beyond crazy, the requests I get all the time. So that is just a lot. And it is a lot with just handling your personal life. Now what comes first, of course, my children, my family. And when I say my children, my family, and I mean my family related by love, my family related by blood and by love. So I have so many kids, in the city of Detroit, now all over the world. But, if they call and they need me, somebody's mom died and they're in Atlanta, I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, this week, it's next week. One of my babies, who I love dearly, I met her when she was 16, speaking, and then she was homeless. And I didn't know it. I'm like, okay, girl, I got to get you through college. I got to get you to high school, this. So anyway, she went away to college, and then first year she switched and went to Eastern. Anyway, long story short, own nonprofit now, getting her MBA from Harvard. Next week, walking across the stage, and she calls like, Gail, I don't have any family, family. I'm like, okay, what day is it? Okay, So I got a funeral the next day for one of my other kids' moms who just spent the weekend with me 2 weeks ago. And then he went home and his mom passed away. So I got to be back for that funeral.
Always filled with
yeah, my home is always filled with people.
Yes.
And then my other one, so I'm going to Harvard. And I'm so excited to go to Harvard and see her walk across the stage. That is like such a great thing. And then the next day I have to be there for my other young baby who's in the 8th grade, and for his mom's funeral next day, so I have to come back for that.
I have to take some breaths just listening to your story.
But I work in between, so that's my only thing. So
and you do exercise.
Oh, yeah. I have 6 o'clock in the morning. I have 6 o'clock class, 7 o'clock class, and I try to run a 5K every single day. So I've been doing that. Yeah, so I've been doing that for a while, for a little bit. So, yes, so.
What accomplishments are you most proud of, both professionally and personally?
So accomplishments are how wonderful where I planted seeds. I always talk about planting seeds. So I even make my youth plant financial gardens across the city. To see those seeds grow 30 years later, 29 years later, for them to own firms. And they say, Gail, listen, I talked about you on this podcast. But have them acknowledge me that I was part of their life is probably the biggest accomplishment. But to see them rise higher than me, I always say send the elevator back down. But when I take my youth down to the DAC, I have them get on. Get off at the 3rd floor, and I push the ground button, and I have them rise to the 7th floor. But to see them rise up and to go in to the DAC and put together their board meetings and to do just different things, to see them do this and to give them a camera and for them to take a picture of what wealth is, to see it through their eyes, that is the biggest accomplishment, that I can buy a camera in my money camp, gift it to the child, and then they say, this is what wealth looks like through my eyes. Mm. So seeing them, so it's not really about me. So, because I'm not into titles at all. So I just don't really look at titles, but I look at, when I see them at, owning a company, running a company, giving back, that is like beyond everything. And to see, my son got married, all my sons are, happy to see your sons, like, oh my God, when you see them, marry someone you want them to marry. Mm-hmm. Whoa, yeah, that's a whole nother, I know. Yeah, all of that, like, oh my God, and then, so my son this last weekend, for Mother's Day, him and his, my daughter-in-law, came, and they just gave me, a picture from the wedding, framed and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like that is like, look at this. These are memories. So all of those are like accomplishments from, just, and when I get invited to places, like not being invited to I'm not talking about the, like whatever the who's who events are. I'm not talking about those which Detroit has every other day, or everybody has every other day. But getting invited to, like today, a baby shower for one of my kids who's having a baby from the money camp. To get invited to the prom send-off, to get invited to the graduation party, or to ask, like, and I'm hosting 2 graduation parties in the next few weeks. So I'm hosting 2 graduation parties because, their parents can't do it. So I'm doing it. So I'm like, okay, that is an honor for me to host that graduation party. That's right. Kim, we did your graduation party.
We did a tea for me.
We did tea for Kim. So when Kim graduated from Eastern, so it's like, so I've been hosting. So the host graduation parties, to see them just rise higher than me, like Kim, for example. That's my biggest accomplishment in my life. So which has nothing really to do with me. So yes.
So I know a lot of people tuning in, and maybe some people here today. We want to get good financial tips from you. So there are some people, though, that are new to financial literacy. So what initial steps would you recommend that they take to gain control over their finances?
Take a mind your own business day. Don't mind nobody's business but your own. And once you take your mind your own business, so just take a mind your business hour. I do it every Monday morning. And then I make layoffs. Like I might lay off some channels, because Dexter no longer lives with me, so I don't need a sports channel, so I, Infinity, that's high. So, but I mean, make layoffs. You might lay off people, lay off, just, I mean, you don't never know, but get focused and lay off, and then put together your own personal board of directors. Everybody needs a board of directors. You need an accountant, a lawyer, a financial advisor, insurance agent, real estate agent, somebody spiritual, somebody physical to help you physically, somebody, a doctor. Everybody needs, put together your board of directors. They don't even know they're, like Warren Buffett's on mine. He doesn't know it. Melanie Hobson's on mine. I got some people, they don't even know it. But I still read about them every day, so you kind of know about them. So put together your personal board of directors, and then, and then start like calling, okay, hey, can you answer this question for me about, will or trust, blah, 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 whatever it is. And so I have those people that I call, like, this is what's going on. So, can you help me with this? And then after that, then start looking at, okay, how am I going to pay myself first? What can I do? Blah, blah, blah. And then actually, I mean, it's so simple. Everybody says pay yourself first. It's like, well, I ain't got no money to pay myself. Well, once you make the layoffs, once you put a GPS on your money, see where your money's going, and not allowed to be homeless, and there's so many apps out here and everything to do that. So do that.
Name a few good apps.
I can't endorse any apps, but there's a lot of apps.
Okay.
So, okay. I can get a podcast. But there's a lot of apps. Which one do you use, Kim? Oh, that's right. Okay, you can't endorse it. Okay, that's right. You're licensed too. But anyway, but the thing is, we need to just actually follow our money and see it. I mean, back in the day, look at what, our grandparents did. I mean, they did the envelopes.
Yeah.
They ain't had no app. They was just app to save, and they just say, and they just say, no. So they just, it was different back then.
And the apps could really help you with your budget and see what percentage you need to save, what percentage you need to put here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I would definitely, just do that. It's just so many things that we can do these days. But, I know it sounds simple to say, definitely.
What's some of the mistakes that you see, some of the common mistakes that people can avoid?
Eating. No, really. No, it is.
Oh, eating out.
Everybody on payday. Girl, I told every time I go to, I was like, just stop eating on payday. Everybody said, oh, did I get paid? I'm going to go. Everybody's got to go to, and everybody makes restaurants look glamorous. Just go as, it could go as a, secret shopper. And, I could talk about that later, but anyway, and then go and, go for free or whatever to a restaurant. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, so we have to look at how where our money's going. I mean, I did it. I followed where my money was going. And my money was going to food. I mean, I was eating my child's education up, I was. It was like, oh my God. I mean, once you learn where your money's going, it's like, oh, look at us. I put a sign in my car, do not eat. But that was for me, So it's like, because when we stop at the gas station, you run in and get something. So, so the thing is, really, all that extra income really goes to, we eat out. So, and then I'm just saying, we speaking French as a people sometimes, we spend it on, what we wear, what we eat, we spend money for the gram, but they don't even know you for a like. No, I'm serious.
It's true. No,
I'm serious. We do. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Social media. Oh, yeah, social media. What the gram is. Okay, yeah. So, but no, we do. Now it's the thread, the gram, the this, the that, whatever it is. But we do that, and we need to actually, it has to be about, ourselves. And
instead of trying to impress people all.
Oh my God, we spend so much time trying to impress everybody. Yeah, and it doesn't make any money. So
yeah,
and it costs you money.
Some people deal with anxiety thinking about financial matters. What do you suggest to them?
To actually, because it is. You can get depressed over financial matters.
Yeah,
everybody does. I emotionally eat. I am an emotional eater, but. I would just suggest the same thing. Actually look, you cannot fix what you don't face. And we got to face our financial matters. So we got to face them. But everybody's going to be different.
Yeah.
Tiffany, you already know that. So just face it. Like, this is what I have to deal with. This is what I'm dealing with. and that's what to do. So,
At what point should someone consider a financial advisor like yourself? And what qualities should they look for?
So everybody's different. Again, look for someone you can work with. Look for somebody you can deal with. Look for somebody you trust. And actually, and the credentials should be, everything, what licenses they have and all of that. So, look for that. And then also and see who you feel comfortable with. A lot of people go online, whatever you want to do. I think whatever makes everybody feel comfortable. And you always have that gut feeling. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about earlier, know thyself. Mm-hmm. And you said how you feel. It's like, okay. But inside said, don't do this. And I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I agree. Everything you said, in your books, can lead up to financial also. Absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we do talk a little bit about the financial.
Mm-hmm.
What are your future goals? What are your future goals for financial literacy programs and your personal endeavors?
So my financial goals are I want to put, Money Matters for Youth across the country. I was going to do it with somebody across the country. They wanted it in Atlanta. They just recently died. We're going to do it with me, Junior Bridgman. Oh my God. He was like one of the wealthiest men in the world. And he invited me to meet with him and all this stuff. So we were doing something, I'm not going to let that idea die because he passed away. So I know that was what was meant to be because he planted that seed. So I do want to impact more youth with my financial literacy. I do want to eventually write more books. And then I do want to retire once I have somebody who can actually really handle, the people the way I handle people with love. And then my dream, this is my total dream, and you all do not talk about me. My total dream is to be a greeter at Costco.
A greeter at Costco?
Yes. I want somebody.
Love on people when they come in?
You can buy my book this aisle. You can do this. Yes. And I can, so I want to be a greeter at Costco. And I want to just give you your basket or clock you in or whatever. Now they got the bag. I just want, because I don't want any pressure. Mm-hmm. And then I could get my, pictures of the grandkids and everybody. You're going to get a discount on pictures, discount on everything. They pay you full benefits. Yeah, so I've already talked to different Costco's already. I know everybody at Costco. So, no, I do. I just want to say, so when y'all see me in Costco, I'm going to have my wave. Y'all going to say, oh my God, what happened to Gail? Oh no, I have arrived. When you see me at Costco, no, when y'all see me at Costco, I'll be like, hey, I have arrived. I'm going to have my wave, hey.
Now we can't.
But don't ask me where the pickles are. I'm like, I can't wait to learn how to shake my head. That is not my job. And then, here's your basket or whatever. But no, I really want, we have so much pressure these days.
Yeah, so true.
With the market, this, that, tariffs, the whole deal. And Costco stood, anyway, like I said, yes. And Costco is the bomb. The employees, they treat their employees well. They pay them well. And you get part-time, full benefits. Don't nobody here take my job. You get full benefits. You can. You get your prescriptions paid for. You got everything from the basket to the casket at Costco. And I can eat at the brunch. They go around, they got food out all the time. So, yeah, so I'm good.
We can't replace you with the love, so we need you to stay where you are.
I know, I'm going to stay where I am right now.
I love the dream,
But my
you're
dream,
passionate about it.
But when y'all see me, and then I don't have to worry about what I wear. I'll wear Birkenstock shoes, red vest, woo. I'm straight.
And then you have something else there that you're doing too.
Yeah. So, anyway, if anybody has any change today, be the change you want to see in the world. So I am so excited about this, Tiffany. So excited. So I have a group of youth, young investors that are called change agents. They all have banks. They're collecting change across the city of Detroit. So they're collecting change, depositing change every day. And then they're going to take all of their money collectively. We're all going to make change together. So they are making change. So each bank holds a couple $100. So we got a bank that's going to, add up the money for us and write checks directly to. They're going to come together and say, hey, we have one mom who her daughter died of cancer, and she left 6 kids. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at that. We're looking at different families like that. kids who can't afford school lunches, kids who the parents were taken by ICE in Detroit at Covenant House.
Wow.
The kids are now in foster care, ward of the state. So how to take care of them. So we have all these stories. So we're gonna make change.
And shout out to Covenant House
In Detroit.
another one of your mentees.
Oh yeah, I love Covenant House. That's one of my. I sleep outside with them all night. I sleep. At every night, every year we have a sleep out at Covenant House, which I love doing. I've been in every single sleep out for now. It's 11 years this year, my 11th year, and I sleep out with a lot of individuals, a lot of CEOs. That's a good way to meet people too. Sleep with them at at the sleep out.
No pun intended.
I know, no pun intended. I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, you meet so many great people and sleeping out, at the Covenant House. Everybody wants to get back and whatever. So what better way to, stay, anyway, but it's a great idea. Anyway, so we're going to end up making change. We're coming together on June 1st. We'll have a pull-up day at Hunt Street in Detroit. So anybody could pull up and bring change and to make change. And then we're going to take the money and, divide it up, all that. And then on June 17th, we're getting on the bus. We're going to D.C. and we're meeting with Senator Peters and with, a lot of people and, Congress. The Senate is going to be on recess. But we're talking to Lucy Macbeth, maybe, I'm not sure, about gun violence and all of that. So because one of our youth, they're interested in trying to stop gun violence. So they're going to say, but they're going to talk to them and say, we made change in Detroit. We made an impact in Detroit. We are change agents. We're too young to vote. This is what can we do to make change? What we're going to tell them, they're going to tell them, the youth, what they want to see through their eyes, what needs to make changes, whether it's school lunches, whether it's arts and culture, whether it's, health care, the things that bother us every single day. So anyway, that's what the change. So we are going on a change tour with our youth, and I'm so excited.
And a lot of great
from Detroit.
issues too.
Oh my God,
causes.
Oh yeah, so
stopping
it's so
gun
many great
violence and shelters.
All the shelters. We can't have the shelters. Get no funds.
Yeah.
You can't have all of these things. The museums. So we're going to Smithsonian while we're there.
Nice.
And so, we can't, and they're taking money from every, it's like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So even though their change is not it will make a deposit in the community. So we're going to deposit change in the community, deposit change into the kids, deposit change. And that's what we're going to do. So we have banks all across the city now, at Jab's Gym, everywhere, just trying to collect some change.
Thank you for being the change.
No, well, thank you.
Where can our listeners get more information about you, your programs? I know Money Matters for Youth Camp, I think, sold out the first minute that you opened it up this year, but there's hope for next year. But how can people find out about your programs, your books?
So moneymattersforyouth.com. Moneymattersforyouth.com is one, or they can reach out to me on for financial, LinkedIn. So Gail Perry-Mason and LinkedIn would be good, or anywhere else.
And what about your books?
Books, they can go on Amazon.
Perfect.
Yes, if they're still using Amazon. If not, go right to the publisher. Penguin Random House. It's such a great publishing company, and they're doing so much now for African American women.
Awesome.
Oh, they are.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, they are definitely doing a lot. So you can go directly to the publisher if you want to too.
What's the final piece of advice for financial empowerment and personal growth, and any additional good tips that you want to give?
Okay, I'll keep it short. The first thing I would say is, of course, pay yourself, know where you are, know thyself. Make sure you have to face what you are facing every single day. Look at it. Numbers don't lie. Look at your numbers. The other thing I would want everybody in here to do, and I'll end with saying this, I want everybody, and this is what I do every single day of my entire life. I drink, I steal, I swear, and I lie. I drink from the everlasting cup every single day of my life. I steal a moment of time to help someone else out that's in worse shape than I'm in. I swear to be a better person I was yesterday, but I lie down and thank God every single night.
Love that. Love that. Finally, and I think that might have been it. What's your personal mantra or affirmation that keeps you grounded and motivated to thrive and rise?
I love the song Black Butterfly. And that is my song. And every time I go to the cemetery to visit my mom, that song comes on. And Ooh Ooh Child, things are going to get easier. But Black Butterfly always comes on. Or when I'm upset, it's like, black. So I look at butterflies as, the wings and how we can fly and things like that. So, and then, so anyway. And then,
Love it.
So that's it.
Love it. Thank you. As we continue our journey of growth and connection, let's take a moment to hear from our sponsors who make this podcast possible. After this brief message, we'll return to address questions from the audience. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
How'd it happen?
She showed up dead on arrival.
This never gets easier.
It does when you call CarShield before your car breaks down. Look at these prices. The camshaft, transmission, engine.
Don't people know? A plan through CarShield could protect up to 5,000 parts and systems.
You hate to see it.
An out-of-warranty car is going to break down eventually.
Right, which is why they need a plan through CarShield.
Best of all, you'll get access to CarShield's concierge service, who can even help you find a mechanic near you.
They're notifying the family.
Poor guy. He doesn't even know what's coming.
Another victim of senselessly expensive repair bills. Can't save them all.
But we can keep trying. Didn't have to end this way. If he'd have just called CarShield before his car broke down.
Exactly.
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. It's time to call CarShield now. Call 800-636-1039.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-588-0324. That's 877-588-0324. Again, 877-588-0324.
Why would anybody do that?
If you're paying high interest rates on your credit cards, you're burning money. We're Consolidated Credit, and we've been helping Americans for over 30 years. Let us work with your creditors to reduce your total payments by up to 50%. Lower your high interest rate credit cards and stop juggling multiple payments. We help you pay down your debt faster than you can on your own, all while saving you thousands in interest charges. Consolidate your credit card bills into one affordable payment today. You don't have to be good with money, because we are. Call 855-732-6487 for a free consultation. 855-732-6487. Call Consolidated Credit today. That's 855-732-6487.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines, and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now.
Call 855-662-0261. That's 855-662-0261. Again, 855-662-0261.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that brief break. Now it's time to get back into the conversation. We're going to take some questions from our live audience, and we're excited to hear their thoughts. Let's get started with our first question from the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephanie Mickens, Detroit teacher for 22 years. My question to you, Miss Gail. First of all, thank you for coming. I remembered you as a child. You came to my church.
What church?
Palestine Missionary Baptist Church. At the time, it was Reverend Samuel Ward Jr. Sr. And I believe you shared a story about your son invested in Pixar.
Mm-hmm. Where's the church at?
On the west side, on Wyoming.
Okay, I remember coming. Yeah, okay. I remember starting thinking, which church?
Yes.
Yeah, but
So my question as an educator, have you ever considered partnering with a school district, trying to implement a financial literacy curriculum?
That's a good question. And you know what? People come to me all the time and, ask me, I do. So because I have, full-time job clients, so I haven't done it at all. But I know other people who do it, so I always kind of refer them and try to help them. So whatever I can do to help them, so I do it. But I do talk. I go up to schools all the time and talk. Okay. Yes. So no, Stephanie, how do you spell your name?
Stephani.
That's the way my name used to be. Okay. So what's your middle name? Mine was Rose.
Denise.
Okay, mine's Stephanie Rose.
Denise.
Oh, okay.
When you said Stephanie, it actually made me think of her.
Oh, see.
Thank you for joining us this episode of Thrive and Rise with Tiffany. We hope today's discussion has inspired you to grow, connect, and thrive in your personal and professional life. To further your journey of self-discovery and empowerment, we invite you to explore the Know Thyself book series designed to deepen your understanding of self-awareness and personal growth. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Your support helps us reach more listeners and continue providing valuable content. Stay tuned with our community for more empowering episodes. And as always, keep thriving with Tiffany.
Oh, perfect.